we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to say, Africa. 1, 2, 3. Africa. I want to hear your energy. Africa. Welcome so much. The next exercise, look at the person on your side and tell them good morning in your mother language. This is the day when we learn a new language. Did we hear any Mangara Mutse? Good morning. Bonjour. We're so much happy to hear. And now the last exercise is a body exercise. Maybe you had a crazy frustration in the morning. Maybe you had a bad thought in the morning. We're going to shake it off so that we can have the best event today. When I count to 3, we're going to shake it off. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes! The people from outside can't hear you. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Yes! The last one and the biggest. 3, 2, 1. Yes! Amazing. Please take back your seat and feel welcomed. We are here in this morning as a family, as Africans, but also as people who believe in the positive impact of the country, but also of Africa. We're so much thankful for our great leaders of all our nations, like His Excellency, President Paul Kagame. Give it up to the amazing opportunity that this is. To be able to sit here, have this conversation, and be heard, the voice of the youth to be heard and given the right consideration that it deserves. So, allow me today to tell you a little bit about what's going to be happening today. This is the last day. Have you enjoyed the Youth Connect Africa Summit? That's right. So today we're going to be having different panels, discussions that are very important and amazing to hear. Today we'll be speaking about 2 important industries. These industries have generated and still generate over $2,000 billion. It generates more than 100 million jobs worldwide. I'm speaking of the cultural and creative industry as well as the sports industry. We'll be having different panelists, but before we have them, I want to give the stage to the Director General of Imbuto Foundation, Miss Sandrine Umutoni. She'll bless us with the opening remarks. Please give her a warm welcome as she takes the stage. So as our speaker coming, maybe this is the right opportunity to learn a little bit of new language. Sir, ma'am, how do you say good morning in your language?
Waramutse.
Oh, waramutse. Sir, please share. How do you say good morning in your language?
In my language? Good morning.
Is it good morning with a different pronunciation? Oh, morning. Let's say it right.
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum. Oh. The people from Egypt are here. How do we say it?
صباح الخير. صباح الخير. Good morning.
Sabah al-Kir. Maybe I come from Egypt, who knows? Who else wants to share? How do we say good morning in their language?
from Burkina Faso, Niyibogo. Niyibogo. Anisogoma. Anisogoma. Je pense que les Peuls disent Jamwali. Jamwali. Burkina Faso.
Wow, let's hear some people on this side as well. Sir, do you mind sharing?
صباح الخير. In Mauritania we say صباح الخير. Assalamu alaikum.
Do we have Mauritans here? Hey, did we not take off in the morning? Do we have Mauritans here? Yes.
Baramo mingi. Tonganaye. Centrafrique, République centrafricaine. Merci.
Give it up to the power of togetherness. So as I was saying, we're going to be discussing about very important subjects today, including reimagining business for the cultural and creative industry, as well as the sports economy. I'm sure that sometime back then when we were little, maybe one of us could see an artist somewhere on the TV and say, wow, I want to be like that. Or maybe you saw a footballer, a basketballer, or any sport that you might be loving to play. Do we have sport people in this house? What do we have? Footballers? Basketball? Do we have kung fu? Do we have handball? Amazing. So we'll be speaking of this subject, but more into getting into the depth of understanding how much can this industries impact the development of Africa. So if you're ready, give yourself another round of applause as the speakers will be on their way to take the stage. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable ministers, distinguished dignitaries present, you are welcome again. In this moment, allow me to take this opportunity to thank so much the Imbuto Foundation for hosting this amazing and impactful session of today in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Culture, the Youth Connect Hub, and the MasterCard Foundation. Allow me to welcome Ms. Sandrine Umutoni, Director General of Imbuto Foundation, as she comes on stage and gives us her keynote address.
Honorable ministers, esteemed partners, distinguished panelists, dear youth, Mwaramutse, good morning, bonjour. It is a great honor to be part of this very important conversation on fostering reliable livelihoods through the creative and cultural industries and sports economies for the continent. Indeed, these themes resonate with the strategic priorities of the organization I represent, the Imbuto Foundation, which was founded by Her Excellency the First Lady of Rwanda, Mrs. Jeannette Kagame, over 20 years ago. This organization was founded to support the development of a healthy, educated, and prosperous society in a holistic manner. Honorables invités, permettez-moi de commencer avec quelques questions pour notre public. Levez la main si les questions suivantes s'appliquent à vous. Parmi vous, combien avaient des talents artistiques et ou des talents sportifs étant enfants? Parmi vous, combien se sont entendus dire en grandissant que leurs aspirations artistiques et ou sportives n'étaient pas sérieuses ou alors qu'il n'y avait pas d'opportunité dans leur communauté pour développer ces talents? Et enfin, parmi vous, combien ont persévéré et ont pu se créer des opportunités économiques durables pour vivre de leur passion aujourd'hui? Distinguished guests, I believe the answers provided by our guests here can be extended to outside this room and explain why conversations like these are much needed. Indeed, together, we must create the necessary pathways for our young people to venture into the fields of the creative and sports industries sustainably. Co-hosting this panel conversation today with the Ministry of Youth and Culture and the Youth Connect Africa Hub allows us to bring to life, one step at a time, our vision of empowered and dignified Rwandans who can take their rightful place among other empowered and dignified Africans. In fact, it is in line with Imbuto's youth empowerment programs to continue being a proud co-host and partner of Youth Connect Africa. As a matter of fact, since its onset, we have gathered to discuss, learn, and share best practices addressing issues related to youth productivity, civic engagement, and the overall health and wellness to see our precious youth embrace opportunities in the development of Youth Connect initiatives internationally. We are here today because when youth are engaged, when they are educated, and when they are given the right tools for their self-actualization, they can deliver groundbreaking ideas, new ways of thinking, and an energetic approach to problem solving, whatever the challenge. And as such, the creative and cultural industries, along with the sports economies, are two sectors that deserve true recognition. Starting with the creative and cultural industries, the economy is projected to reach a global valuation of over 900 billion US dollars by 2023, and they could represent 10% of global GDP before 2030, according to the think tank G20 Insights. In Rwanda, our government has set the creative and cultural industries as a key sector able to drive sustainable youth employment, and through our organization, Imbuto Foundation, we have been fortunate to work with the Ministry of Youth and Culture, the Korea International Cooperation Agency, known as KOICA, and the One UN to support talent detection and nurturing for various art categories for 4 years now, through a program called Art Rwanda Ubuhanzi. We have also seen our country investing heavily in the sports economies by creating mindful partnership to nurture young talents, build sports infrastructures, provide incentives, and host international championships, among other initiatives, with a return on investment for our private sector and job creation for our young people. And as a matter of fact, should you still be in Kigali tomorrow, please join our bi-monthly car-free day, which from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. encourages all to perform physical activities in large numbers on our major roads throughout the city. Honorable dignitaries and delegates, at Imbuto, our core approach to the empowerment of our communities is a holistic model that follows a life cycle approach. And we often refer to a metaphor of a garden to speak of the work of Imbuto Foundation. Our beneficiaries, in this case the youth, are considered as the seeds. The ecosystem they need to flourish in for these very specific sectors we are discussing today can be considered as the water that will help them grow with the help of policymakers, like-minded partners, and of course the youth themselves at the forefront. Honorable guests and dear youth, it is no coincidence that both the arts and sports are referred to as disciplines. Indeed, it is through discipline that one awakens success, which follows us in all aspects of life. For instance, sports, which keep us healthy, dynamic, and productive, is also a source of income and job creation, as will be discussed in more details by a panelist in a few minutes. But beyond that, through sports, we learn about teamwork. We understand how to respect the rules of a game, how to follow a coach, how to deal with success and failure, and how to inspire other people. Through the arts, we tap into a creative energy which, when properly channeled, can lead to life-changing opportunities for entire communities, as in fact, artists learn to articulate their own views of the world to revive our societies. Through both the arts and sports, we therefore learn how to set goals for ourselves. We set certain steps and things to practice to become highly proficient in what we have been called to do. And these are the ingredients we transport to our communities, whether we work in the public, the private, or civil society. As to succeed at what we do, we will need discipline, we will need to work with a team, and we will learn to deal with successes and failures. Indeed, it is through the artistic and sports disciplines that we find healthy ways to release these energies, make room for more positive ones to come our way. Honorables invités, chers participants, permettez-moi de conclure et de laisser place à notre panel d'experts pour de fructueux débats en vue d'établir des propositions concrètes et favorables au développement durable de nos industries culturelles, artistiques et celles du sport. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
Thank you so much, Madame Director General, for your inspiring remarks. Now, this is the time to welcome our distinguished panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to pass the floor to Madame Teta Ndejuru. Madame Teta Ndejuru, Director General, Ministry of Youth and Culture, 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 Ministry of You She'll be our moderator of the panel today and will introduce us to the panelists. Karibu sana.
Good morning. Good morning. It's nice to hear good morning back. I wanted to climb up the Y, but I wasn't sure if that was allowed. So, honorable ministers, representatives of the diplomatic corps, heads of institutions, government partners, Youth Connect Network, family and friends of Youth Connect, good morning. My name is Tétane Desjoroux. I am the country lead for the Basketball Africa League, and I'm honored to be your moderator today on reimagining business for Africa's cultural, creative industries and sports economies. If you allow, I will introduce each one of our panelists, starting with Honorable Lassana Bea Diallo, ministre de la Jeunesse et du Sport Guinée-Conakry. En plus d'être un boxeur de grande renommée, sa carrière a terminé avec un titre de champion WBF des poids super moyens en 2007, sur un bilan de 47 combats professionnels, dont 10 pour un titre intercontinental ou mondial. Il a eu une carrière politique impressionnante sur 2 continents, et membre du Parti socialiste belge, député bruxellois pendant 15 ans, et premier échevin d'Ixelles de 2006 à 2021, puis élu ministre de la Jeunesse et des Sports de la Guinée le 2 novembre 2021. Chef d'entreprise, boxeur, homme politique belgo-guinéen, honorable Lassana Bea Diallo, ministre de la Jeunesse et du Sport Guinée-Conakry, bienvenue. Usher Komugisha. Usher Komugisha is the former athlete who played basketball, rugby, volleyball, and golf, a multiple award-winning African multimedia woman sports journalist that has been named one of 50 top women sports journalists from across the world, among the top 100 most influential young Africans and 500 most influential Africans. Usher Komugisha is also our BAL commentator. Usher, welcome. Michaela Rugwizangoga. Michaela is a Rwandan engineer with experience in strategic planning, project management, and product development. She was the first African woman CEO within the Volkswagen Group and is currently serving as the Chief Tourism Officer of Rwanda at the Rwanda Development Board. Michaela, welcome. Keen Mushapedze graduated with honors in marketing and business studies at the University of Zimbabwe and has been managing J. Praza and the Third Generation Band successfully for the past 8 years. Keen, welcome. I wish I had a little bit of music to introduce my next guest. Mani Martin is a Rwandan singer. Songwriter, actor, and performing artist, he has won numerous awards. His unique musical sound has received national and international attention, being described by Rwanda Spectrum magazine as one of the best live music performing artists of the Rwandan music scene. Mani sings in Kinyarwanda, Swahili, English, and French. Mani, welcome. Pamela Akplogan et la chef de l'unité jeunesse, sport et citoyenneté de l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie. Ancienne athlète et journaliste, passionnée des questions de jeunesse, d'éducation et d'autonomisation des femmes, elle a une vaste expérience militante et professionnelle au sein de la société civile et des organisations internationales, avec une expertise reconnue en gestion de projets, développement de stratégies et partenariats. Elle a assuré un leadership stratégique dans la mise en place et la mise à l'échelle de plusieurs initiatives. Pamela Akplogan est titulaire d'un master en sciences sociales, d'un diplôme en droit et de plusieurs certifications académiques. Pamela, bienvenue. Si vous me permettez, bon, quand je dis si vous me permettez, vous applaudissez un tout petit peu. J'aimerais souligner la présence de quelqu'un d'autre dans la salle. Salima Mukasanga. Salima Mukasanga is an international football referee from Rwanda. She has made history in January 2022, becoming the first woman to officiate a match as a center referee at the Africa Cup of Nations finals. She didn't stop there. She's also going to be the first woman in history listed to officiate the World Cup. She's not even 40, guys. Thank you for being with us today, Salima, and welcome. So let's start this panel, and the way the panel is structured is that we're going to have one question. I'm going to have one question for each one of the panelists, and then we'll open up to Q&A. So let me start with my first question to Honorable Minister Diallo. Sans prendre en compte les investissements nécessaires en infrastructure, Monsieur le Ministre, avec votre expérience exhaustive en sport et en politique, pourriez-vous nous partager votre perspective sur les investissements nécessaires pour nourrir ou élever les talents de la jeunesse sur le continent africain? Et quelles politiques et ou stratégies ont besoin d'être mises en place afin d'attirer plus d'investissements dans le domaine du sport et générer la création d'emplois?
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je suis vraiment très content d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui et surtout d'aborder une thématique comme celle-là. Parce que je pense que cette thématique, effectivement, est une thématique importante pour le continent, pour son développement et surtout aussi par rapport à l'approche, je dirais, qu'on a du sport. Alors, la difficulté, c'est qu'en Afrique, le modèle business du sport, ce qu'on pense que ce n'est que le sport de haut niveau. Donc, ça veut dire qu'on a tendance, effectivement, à aller dans une direction où on ne fait que du sport pour amener vers la compétition. Et je pense que la première chose, effectivement, qu'il faut travailler aujourd'hui, c'est de mettre en place un outil pour faire du sport accessible à tout le monde. Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire que c'est développer justement la notion d'éducation à travers le sport. Moi, je suis devenu sportif de haut niveau, non pas parce que je voulais être sportif de haut niveau, je suis devenu sportif de haut niveau parce qu'à un moment donné, j'ai découvert, j'ai touché à énormément de sports. Et à travers justement le développement stratégique qui existe en Occident notamment, où tu peux toucher à tous les sports, mais surtout l'accessibilité du sport, qui est assez compliquée aujourd'hui. Alors il y a certains pays africains aujourd'hui qui sont dotés d'infrastructures sportives, effectivement, mais qui dans le modèle business qu'ils ont mis en place ne permet pas effectivement de rentabiliser ces infrastructures qui ont été construites. Et donc la vraie réflexion aujourd'hui, c'est de doter effectivement je pense, la plupart des pays aujourd'hui, d'une approche qui permet de développer le sport éducatif. Je m'explique par quoi je veux dire. Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire que la notion, effectivement, du sport aujourd'hui doit être une approche de développement personnel. Aujourd'hui, dans les écoles, on fait de moins en moins d'éducation physique. À mon époque, l'éducation physique était aussi importante que les maths, que le français ou l'anglais. Et donc aujourd'hui, il faut réintroduire effectivement cette notion. Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire que si on met cette dynamique en place, ça permet à un enfant d'avoir confiance en lui. Ça permet à un enfant de comprendre ce que c'est que l'esprit de compétition, mais avec des règles. Ça permet à un enfant aussi, évidemment, d'être beaucoup plus performant dans sa scolarité. Aujourd'hui, l'accessibilité du sport est quelque chose de compliqué, donc je pense qu'il faut mettre en place dans les écoles, dans les différentes fédérations, le sport en tant qu'éducation en premier lieu. Cette éducation permet d'amener quoi? Ça permet de développer une notion. Je vais vous donner un simple exemple. Quand j'étais en Belgique, j'ai développé aujourd'hui la boxe éducative. Alors la boxe éducative, ça commence à 5 ans. Alors il y en a certains qui vont dire ici, il est fou, mon fils va aller faire de la boxe et prendre des coups sur sa tête à 5 ans. J'explique ce que c'est que la boxe éducative. La boxe éducative, c'est d'abord la notion de toucher et pas de frapper. Ça veut dire que quand tu frappes ton adversaire, tu perds 2 points. Quand tu touches ton adversaire, tu gagnes 1 point. Et si tu frappes, tu peux être disqualifié. On apprend en fait à un enfant à canaliser son énergie. On apprend à un enfant à avoir confiance en lui. On apprend à un enfant à comprendre ce que c'est que l'esprit de compétition, mais avec des règles. On apprend à un enfant, surtout, derrière cette confiance qu'il prend en lui, c'est de se dire aujourd'hui, effectivement, je suis capable de faire quelque chose. Parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'enfants à l'école, effectivement, qui, avec ce qu'on met en place comme objectif à l'école, souvent, on n'est pas parfois performant dans ce qu'on a envie de faire, parce qu'on n'a pas nécessairement une passion. Et à travers le sport, on arrive effectivement à développer ces notions-là chez les enfants. Donc, je pense vraiment que cet état d'esprit-là, dans notre continent, doit changer. Alors, vous parlez du modèle business qu'il faut mettre en place pour permettre effectivement de développer le sport et de le rendre rentable aussi pour les gens qui vont investir. Je pense que l'État doit jouer un rôle. Et ce rôle que l'État doit jouer, c'est en mettant en place des outils qui vont permettre à tout un chacun de pouvoir aller pratiquer du sport. D'abord, évidemment, vous l'avez dit tout à l'heure, les infrastructures qui sont développées, c'est une chose, mais il y a l'encadrement aussi qui est important. Si aujourd'hui en Afrique, j'ai envie d'aller faire du sport dans une belle salle moderne, il faut que j'ai les moyens de le faire. Ce n'est pas accessible à tout le monde. Et donc, je pense que développer l'accessibilité du sport à tous, c'est important. Je me souviens, quand j'étais élu en Belgique comme parlementaire, j'ai mis en place une loi qui permettait de mettre en place ce qu'on appelle les chèques sport. Ces chèques sport ont permis à tout un chacun, en fonction de vos revenus, d'avoir accès au sport. Vous avez 5 enfants, 6 enfants. Si vous avez des revenus qui sont bas, ces chèques sport vous permettent effectivement de payer la cotisation de votre enfant dans un club sportif. Au football, au basketball, au handball, à la boxe. N'importe quel sport peut être pratiqué par votre enfant parce que ces chèques sport effectivement permettent d'avoir accès à ces salles de sport-là. Mais ce modèle-là est possible que si évidemment les fédérations, mais aussi je dirais les clubs sportifs aussi jouent le jeu et accompagnent effectivement l'État dans cette approche de développement stratégique par rapport au continent. Mais il y a aussi des modèles qui existent aussi qui permettent effectivement de se dire au plus tu as des moyens, au plus tu contribues. Au moins tu as de moyens, au moins tu contribues. Mais ça permet aussi à tout un chacun de rééquilibrer effectivement ce monde-là. Cette notion-là est très très compliquée effectivement à mettre en place. Sur le continent africain, on a des talents exceptionnels. Moi, j'ai été le premier sportif au monde et en fait, à dire, j'ai été effectivement formé. J'ai été sportif de haut niveau. Je suis passé professionnel en Belgique. C'est les Belges qui m'ont formé entièrement. Mais j'ai jamais oublié d'où je venais. Parce que quand on me voyait partout, on me demandait, tu viens de quel pays? Quelle est ton origine? Et donc, j'ai voulu effectivement imposer l'hymne national de mon pays d'origine, tout en mettant en place l'hymne national du pays qui m'avait accueilli et qui m'a permis effectivement de devenir le sportif que j'étais. Parce que je voulais faire connaître mon pays, je voulais faire connaître le continent africain et dire aussi que la notion de sportif aujourd'hui, on a beaucoup de talents, mais malheureusement la plupart de nos talents partent à l'exode et deviennent effectivement des Européens ou des Américains, mais ne se battent pas pour le continent. Et pour moi, il était important de mettre la lumière sur le continent. Il était important pour moi, quand je suis devenu champion du monde, de dire ma première défense de titre, je le fais dans mon pays d'origine. Et j'ai réussi à convaincre la Fédération internationale pour le faire. Après le combat de Mohamed Ali, on a fait un des plus grands événements effectivement, de boxe à Conakry, dans mon pays d'origine, qui a mis la lumière sur le pays.
Est-ce que vous avez gagné ?
50 pays. Ouais, je pense qu'il y avait les marabouts étaient trop forts ce jour-là, donc j'ai gagné à Conakry. Donc voilà, c'est vraiment dire qu'il est important effectivement et de permettre à tous les gamins, à tous les jeunes de rêver de grandir, mais de grandir dans leur pays d'origine, de mettre un modèle business qui permet effectivement au pays d'avoir ses talents, mais que ces talents aussi puissent gagner leur vie dans leur pays d'origine. Parce que tout le monde rêve de partir à l'étranger, parce qu'on n'a pas des outils qui permettent à un sportif de vivre de son sport dans son pays d'origine. Donc il faut que l'Afrique et que le continent africain comprennent que ces talents doivent rester. Pour qu'ils restent, il faut qu'on mette des moyens et qu'on les accompagne en lien avec le secteur privé. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Ministre. Et on retient l'importance de mettre en place des programmes sport-études. Je pense que vraiment, vous avez raison, il y a toute une opportunité. Et aussi de la collaboration entre secteur privé et l'État pour créer ces opportunités d'accès de sport à tous. Merci beaucoup pour cette belle intervention. Usher, I'm coming to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Usher, what kind of investment, policies, strategies would be necessary to see a growth in gender equity and women participation in sports economies?
That's a very good question, Tata. Look, when you look at the African continent in regards to the rest of the world, we're lagging behind when it comes to investment in women in sports. On the continent right now, it's more like people are doing us a favor by, investing in women. But it has to be strategic, all the way from up. And if you look at a country like Rwanda, you have a sports minister who's female. That's representation number one, Honorable Aurora. That shows, the young girls and women who are, across the country, that it's possible to sit at the high table and talk about sports. And if we talk about, for example, we have Salma here. She's had, incredible leadership at the Rwanda Football Federation that have believed in her from the get-go. I don't know if she remembers, but all the way back 8 years ago, used to watch her, running and training inside the Amahoro National Stadium. I actually get goosebumps when I remember Salma. And seeing you, officiate that game between Zimbabwe and Guinea, actually. I hope you were pleased with the results, Honorable. Yeah, Salma, I know that you know how powerful it was for you to be there, but there's so many women and girls that you will never meet in your life that when they saw you that day, they started to believe. And now they continue to believe because you're going to the biggest stage of sports in the world, the FIFA World Cup. I cried actually when I saw you walking onto that pitch at the Ahmadu Ahijo Stadium in Yaoundé, because that's what we're looking for. Any Rwandan here knows that maybe a couple of months ago, years ago, if someone asks you, can you tell me one female face in sports, you wouldn't necessarily name the same person. 10 people would not, but now they can because you have people like Salma. And so this is exactly what we're talking about, leadership, people who can change policies at that level. And it's not just in government, it's also in federations, it's also, people who can hire coaches, female coaches. But the thing is, they have to be people who can do the job. They must be able to deliver. I don't know if so many people know here, but Grace Nyinawumuntu, who is the technical director of the PSG Academy in Rwanda, is female. And she's had an incredible career of more than 10 years as a head coach of AS Kigali women's team, and that experience is what has helped her get into that position. And again, for those who don't know, Rwanda are the world champions of the PSG Academy Championship, right? And this is the work, again, of Grace Nyinawumuntu, but also other women and men who are involved in this structure that is helping, to grow football. I think that, with time, we will get there. But then also from a media perspective, as a journalist, I'll say that in more ways than one, we've failed women in sports, especially in Africa. I'll tell you a short story. In South Africa in 2019, ahead of the FIFA Women's World Cup, Sasol, who are a great #1 supporter of women's football in Africa, were running a campaign around South Africa. If you buy fuel, you enter a raffle draw to get a ticket, perhaps as a fan, to go to France and watch the World Cup. And this lady drives into, the petrol station, and the pump attendant tells her, you need to enter the raffle draw. And she says, why? because you'll stand a chance to go and participate and cheer on Banyana Banyana, as the women's soccer team in South Africa is called. And she said, I'm already going. But what the pump attendant did not know is that she was talking to the captain of South Africa. She was talking to the most capped player in the history of South Africa. This lady at the time had 150 caps for South Africa. But because women sports is not shown on television more regular, like we see Messi and Ronaldo and, you know, Marcus Rashford or whichever other players we see in the Premier League and the Champions League, we don't see these faces. So the media has a big role to play in terms of when you buy broadcasting rights. You know, are you buying also the games where the women are playing? If we talk about, for example, the Rwanda Broadcasting, you know, Association or organization, how often are they showing women's sports on television? In your country, do the national broadcasters show women's games? Can you see them regularly, week in, week out? That affects investment, because if you go to a company and say, we want to partner, you know, with this female athlete, they'll say, how regular are they on television? What is their social media outreach? And also, again, that brings me to the athletes themselves. Athletes have free space on social media. You have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, to create your own brand so that, you know, these companies can partner with you. So it is a whole 360-degree movement that involves government, that involves the business community, but even the athletes themselves.
I think you're totally right. And I know that I remember meeting you 7 years ago and you telling me, I want to do sports broadcasting. I was thinking, where's this girl going? And now seeing you rise to the top is also, I think you need to know that you also represent a new possibility for young girls here, in Uganda, and Africa. And thank you for that, Asher. So, as our two first panelists mentioned, government has a huge part to play, apparently. And the government of Rwanda, as mentioned in DG Mbuto's speech, has invested a lot in sporting infrastructures and marketing deals in the past 7 years. Does Rwanda see a tangible return on investment? And what can you share with the rest of Africa on the benefits of investing in the sports business ecosystem?
Thank you, Teta. Good morning again. I think good afternoon. So to answer the question, I think it's important, first of all, to provide some context. The government of Rwanda, first and foremost, would like to position Rwanda as a hub, so a sports hub. Not only a sports hub, a financial hub, conference and event hub. And to achieve those objectives, the government is putting in place infrastructures and programs that enable us to actually attain those goals. In the area of sports, some of you may know our basketball arena, which is actually recent. It's a recent building. It's one of the buildings that has been erected in the shortest time possible. And it's also an example of the collaboration between African countries, because you have a similar arena in Dakar, and we actually heard from our friends in Dakar and said, can we do the same? And they actually made the linkages which enable that building to be built in Kigali. But really, it was done to be able to attract the Basketball Africa League, which is the NBA initiative when it comes to the continent. You work with this organization, Teta. And then, so for the past 2 years, we're entering the 3rd year now, Rwanda has been hosting the Basketball Africa League every year. And it's an example of a deliberate will to actually attain a certain objective. In parallel to that, we are also developing renovating the Amahoro Stadium, which is the largest football stadium in the country. The works are undergoing, and we hope that Once it's done, we'll be able to attract even bigger events in the country. So for us to be able to do that, we need to have the right infrastructure, we need to have the right skills, we need to attract talent, but we need also to have the right partnerships. So within the Rwanda Development Board and the Office of Tourism, we ask ourselves, how can we position the brand Visit Rwanda on the global scale? And what better platform than sports? Because sports unite people, sports federate. Sports is the soft power that our country have. And in line with that, we've engaged Arsenal, we've engaged Paris Saint-Germain, the PSG, among other teams. Maybe future partnerships are happening, but for now we have Arsenal and PSG.
Are you
So
dropping the secret on the Formula One? Are we finding out about Formula One today?
Come again? For the next panel. And so, with that, I'm sure when you watch your Arsenal match, your PSG match, you see the logo Visit Rwanda. And what it has enabled us to do is people know our country better. We have attracted more tourism. Today, the UK is the second biggest destination of tourists coming from the UK. It's our biggest market. First market is the US, but since 2019 now, we've been able to position UK as our second top source of tourists, so to say. And so we see the result of those partnerships. We see them concretely on ground. As Usher was mentioning, part of those partnerships are not just about marketing, country branding, nation branding. They're also about creating skills, passing on exchanging on different programs and building capacities. So within the PSG partnership, we do have the PSG Academy. This is a model that is that exists within the PSG organization, and so they set up here an academy, and we train young people in the city of Rouye since the beginning of that program. We also have PSG legend and Arsenal legend who come regularly in the country, who engage with our young people, who host talks, who inspire them. And we believe that it's through those exchange that talent are discovered and that young people can really understand that this is a sector they can leverage on. And then last but not least, I would like to mention a program from an organization based in Rwanda but also in Africa. It's the Future Star Camp from Entrepreneurial Solution Partners. And so every year on the sideline of the BAL, they organize a sports clinic where they bring legends, sports professionals to exchange with young people. They have workshops, they have certification happening, and that has enabled, I think last year, to have about 200 young people who were trained in those camps. So we need more and more of those initiatives, but also, as the minister mentioned, I think I would end on that, we need program on sport études. Young people who decide to have sports as a career should not do it at the expense of their studies. Yeah. They should be able to finish their secondary school, they should be able to go to university and at the same time pursue their career. And I think this is the part of the government and also the private sector to work on. And it's a work in progress, but I think we're in a good place and really the sky is the limit. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm unapologetically proudly Rwandan, and I must admit that the holistic approach of the government of Rwanda, bringing in skills, services, infrastructure, is very impressive. Thank you for that, Michaela. We can't really talk sports without talking entertainment. I think they go hand in hand. And Keen, I would like to know, from your experience, I think we'd all like to know, can you explain to us the importance of artist management and its benefits?
Good afternoon. I'd like to say, first of all, when I was notified of the members of this panel, I kind of had a heart attack. It's a rich panel, you know. And, well, I gathered myself up and I was like, let me go and do it. As I got to the gate and saw the number of dignitaries, delegates, and all the youths coming through, I almost told the driver, please take me back to the hotel. But these are the benefits of youth empowerment and realizing what Youth Connect is all about. Exploring different ventures, including the creative sector. And I'm happy to be here today to talk about the importance of artist management. Most of the times people just look at the artists and never those behind the scenes. But it's a whole ecosystem where you might have your take on being an artist, you might have your take in the corporate world, but there's still a whole other industry that the entertainment industry is brewing, particularly through the artists. A brief background of myself. Soon after graduating from the University of Zimbabwe, I joined one of the most prestigious banks in Zimbabwe, and everything was going on well. I just didn't believe in putting on a suit and tie every day. Unfortunately, I had to do that today. And Ja came to me and he gave me the proposal. Kina, I want you to help me set up a professional office. I want to run my things professionally. He was doing very well as an artist. Even then, his name had already blown up in Zimbabwe. It was an exciting journey for me, and I decided to join him. A lot of people, including my parents, thought I was crazy at that time because it was sort of unheard of. Music and entertainment has always been a space where you take as plan B after plan A fails to work. But here I was with plan A and jumping on to plan B. That's 9 years ago, and I started doing his PR management. I just did that for a year, and then after that, I was fully his manager. And I think we have had a number of great stories to talk about over the years. We started off with a 2-roomed office. That's in 2014. Now we are talking about a fully fledged office with 3 studios that we actually now book out to other artists, rehearsal spaces as well. And the moment you get there, there are secretaries, there are PAs, there's everything. And it's something that we decided to take seriously and mold the same way that any other entrepreneur would love to mold an upcoming computer business or farming project. And that's what I would like to urge the youth out there to take this space seriously. There's a lot to do, and there are a lot of careers that can come out of it. Not only will we be able to fend for our families, but also participate fully in the economic growth of our continent, our beloved Africa. I was quite shocked a few years ago when the revenue authorities knocked on our doors. And we were like, well, we're just artists. Why are they coming to audit us? You know, but that's the moment we realized this thing that we started was now that big. People were paying attention. It was a tough time for us then because we were trying to adjust, but now we're fully in compliance and we're happy to be participating in the economic space of the country. And that's all thanks to the policymakers. I know there are a lot of them in here. This is not only for Zimbabwe, but for Africa. I'm sure you noticed that internationally, people are now paying attention more to what we are doing as Africa, our music. It's not a coincidence that we have so many big superstars from America, the UK, other big European countries coming to do collaborations with Africans now.
So, can I ask you, are you saying that having artist management does allow also to put a sprinkle of professionalism into making it a business, basically, right?
Definitely.
You guys were no longer just artists. All of a sudden, you have accountants, you have bills to pay, you have revenue authority asking you. So that means that it is generating money, and
Definitely.
therefore there's a need of professionalization of the
Sure.
creative industries.
Sure. We decided to stop running it as a band and start running it as a brand and a company.
Yeah.
And there are now so many things we're doing under the company. That's not just entertainment. Entertainment is the face of it and the vehicle that's driving everything. But now Jai is into construction, into logistics.
So it allowed Jay and the three generation band to also diversify revenue to have management. That's amazing.
Making it sustainable.
I'm going to transition over to Mani because we have a manager on one side and an artist on the other. And Mani, I would like you, if possible, to share with us your journey by highlighting the successes you had, the challenges you faced, and the possible solutions that should be applied to people that are following you or young artists in the room.
Thank you very much, Mngara Mutse. Bonjour. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. My journey of music begins since I was a child, because I started singing when I was like 6 years old, but I never took it seriously because we all grew up being told that you can only do economics or become a doctor or stuff like that. So nobody saw our music talent as something that could take me where I am today. And being that I was living in a village, I'm a village boy actually, I never saw an artist when I was young. I never saw anybody that did the same thing that I was trying to do. Until one of my teachers discovered my talent, because maybe he knew about talents and art and all that, but because I had to follow my studies and believing that I would become all those things that I said before, I never really thought of music as something that I could make a living out of. Until when I was graduating from my high school, I was looking for a job, and then the first person that I turned to just said, "Why are you looking for a job when you have a job in you?" Which is music. That's how I started thinking of music as something that could be a profession. And since then, I started just trying to record music and telling people that I could perform for them. But back in the day in Rwanda, we didn't really have that music industry where people could live out of their talents. I'm actually so happy that I have been one of the artists that started the movement of us earning some money from music. And thank you. And as you can understand, back in the day in Rwanda, it was right after the genocide against the Tutsi that had destroyed a lot of industries, including the creative industry as well. And we were recreating every industry. So as the young generation were kind of trying to do things that we don't even know how to do. But I can say that I'm so grateful that today we have what we have, and I think every artist now is living out of their talent.
I'm going to come back to you one day, Manny, because I want to know how your teacher discovered your talent, but that'll be like...
Okay, I don't know. I actually don't know, because I was a singing child. I was a singing
So
baby, I would say. Even in my class, I could always sing, and then until he actually asked me to be performing like seriously for other children, and he said, maybe you have a talent. That could be a talent, but everybody in my family did not understand, and I can't really blame them because, you know, we haven't seen anyone else who does it back in my village. And to that, I would really encourage the governments in Africa to enhance arts education, because I know among all these young people from Africa, there are so many talents, but we don't know how to exploit them because we we seem to consider education as something that we do to get jobs. But for me, I think we should start changing our perception on education, consider it as investing knowledge in ourselves so that we can be able to use that knowledge to explore our potential.
I love
other
that.
than
I love that.
other than just considering it as I'm going to school so that I can be a translator. I wanted to become a translator. And you know, just try to
Invest.
see that as investing the knowledge in us so that we can be able to, you know, to explore our talents or our art.
And what I really love about this is going through now the first 5 panelists. We're talking about the necessity for representation, for support systems, for diversified education models. And I just think it's very exciting to see that this is something that is coming up in all of your interventions. So Pamela, last but not least, dans de nombreux discours officiels, les économies du sport et les industries créatives ont été soulignées comme solution à la création d'emplois pour la jeunesse du continent. Selon vous, quels sont les obstacles que rencontrent ces industries pour dynamiser la création d'emplois pour les jeunes et quelles stratégies devrions-nous mettre en place afin de pouvoir ressentir l'impact en termes de développement économique?
Merci beaucoup. Vous m'entendez? C'est bon?
Moi, je t'entends.
Merci beaucoup. Je voudrais déjà dire bonjour au nom de la secrétaire générale de la francophonie que je représente, Madame Louise Michikabo. Remercier aussi Imbuto Foundation et Youth Connect de nous avoir invités. Je voudrais également dire merci dans votre langue. Murokose, c'est bien ça?
Moura.
Murakose. Merci beaucoup. Je tenais à le faire parce qu'on s'est senti chez nous ici et on s'est senti bien accueillis et je tenais à dire ces mots-là. Sur la question que vous avez posée, je voudrais déjà dire que personnellement, j'ai été athlète. J'ai été journaliste sportive. J'ai étudié dans un institut de sport. Aujourd'hui, je travaille et dans mon métier, je travaille sur le sport. C'est pour dire que dans ces domaines, que ce soit le sport, la culture, l'art, il y a 2 choses importantes qu'il faut retenir, la passion et la détermination. On dit que le sport et la culture sont vecteurs de cohésion. C'est d'abord au niveau personnel. Il faut avoir une certaine passion, une détermination à aller dans ces secteurs-là qui ne sont pas traditionnels. Et lorsqu'on parle d'obstacles, justement, je voudrais commencer en disant qu'il y a déjà beaucoup de prise de conscience. Mais premièrement, il n'y a pas de politique publique, il n'y a pas de loi pour encadrer et pour légiférer dans ces secteurs-là, donc qui demeurent aussi en majorité informels. Je pense que la plupart des panélistes l'ont dit et on n'a même pas de visibilité sur les rôles modèles dans ces secteurs-là. Je pense que la deuxième question, c'est la question de la taxation. Il y a de fortes taxes. Donc, les entreprises ne sont pas créées, il n'y a pas de start-up, déjà parce que c'est des secteurs où on se dit c'est très restrictif. Maintenant, quand je vais créer mon entreprise, il y aura beaucoup de taxation. Donc, quel est le retour sur investissement? Le troisième obstacle, je pense, c'est sur la question des stratégies. Il y a très peu de pays qui ont des stratégies économiques axées sur le sport et qui sont orientées sur l'emploi, l'éducation, le commerce, les médias, etc. Donc je pense que pour pouvoir déjà développer ces secteurs-là, il faut avoir des stratégies. Et le troisième obstacle que je vais soulever, et je pense que Michaela l'a dit aussi, c'est que les pays deviennent des hubs. Si on n'est pas capable de devenir des hubs, de mettre à contribution la technologie et l'innovation, puis on ne pourra pas accéder au marché, qu'il soit national, régional ou international. Donc je pense qu'il y a une grande opportunité. Le panel avant a parlé du digital. Donc il y a une grande opportunité aujourd'hui en matière de digital pour pouvoir développer ces secteurs-là. Et pour vous donner un exemple, pour organiser un championnat de basketball, on est capable de créer 800 emplois éphémères. La difficulté, c'est de rendre ces emplois pérennes. Pour les Jeux olympiques de Paris, on va créer 150 000 emplois. Et ces emplois seront seulement pour les Jeux olympiques de Paris. Comment est-ce qu'ils seront pérennisés et maintenus dans le temps? Et selon les statistiques de l'Organisation internationale du travail, le domaine du sport et de la culture et de la musique sont capables de créer 480 000 emplois par an. Sauf que l'adéquation, la formation, l'information ne permet pas de pouvoir absorber ces emplois. Donc, ils peuvent être créés potentiellement, mais ils n'existent pas. Et je voudrais aussi vous interpeller sur le fait qu'il y a les Jeux olympiques de la jeunesse qui vont se dérouler au Sénégal. Ça veut dire que potentiellement, on peut créer des emplois en 2026 au Sénégal. Mais qu'est-ce que nous, jeunes Africains, parce que je pense qu'il n'y a pas de meilleur plaisir dans la vie que de pouvoir s'adresser à sa génération, à d'autres jeunes, qu'est-ce que nous, jeunes Africains, à Youth Connect aujourd'hui, on s'engage à faire pour que le sport féminin, le sport pratiqué par les jeunes, la participation active des jeunes soit plus valorisée dans ces grands rendez-vous sportifs et que des emplois soient créés pour les jeunes et pérennisés. Parce que c'est ça le plus grand enjeu, créer des emplois, mais les pérenniser. Donc en termes de stratégie, je pense que la première, et elle nous interpelle tous, qu'on soit jeunes, qu'on soit médias, qu'on soit fondation, qu'on soit pays, c'est vraiment la question de la sensibilisation et de la popularisation du sport et des métiers d'art. Amener les jeunes à comprendre que s'insérer dans le sport ou dans la musique, ce n'est pas juste devenir des artistes célèbres ou des athlètes célèbres. On peut être dans le sport et faire de la communication comme Usher. On peut être dans le sport et travailler sur le tourisme comme Michaela. On peut être dans le sport et travailler comme moi sur des questions de stratégie, de développement de projets et de programmes. Il y a des opportunités et on doit être sensibilisé à cela. Je pense que la deuxième stratégie que je vais aborder, elle concerne spécifiquement les États et les partenaires au développement. La question des politiques et de la légifération. Je pense que le vice-président du Kenya l'a dit. Les politiques, on peut les développer, mais il faut pouvoir les mettre en œuvre. Et il n'y a pas de politique sans loi. S'il n'y a pas de loi pour encadrer, pour fédérer, et également aussi pour favoriser l'éclosion de ces écosystèmes, donc vraiment en faire un vivier, un hub qui va attirer des emplois, attirer des jeunes talents et les détecter et les maintenir, je pense qu'on aura encore des difficultés. Donc vraiment la question des politiques pour développer ce secteur, l'encadrer, et on parle aussi de développement de sport et de sport pour le développement. Donc utiliser le sport pour tacler des thématiques comme la santé sexuelle, l'éducation, etc. C'est aussi un autre corps de métier qu'on peut développer et dans lesquels les jeunes peuvent vraiment s'engager. Je pense que la troisième stratégie dont je vais parler, c'est la question de la galvanisation. Je pense que monsieur le ministre l'a dit. Sport-études, sport-emploi, sport-performance. On doit investir dedans pour galvaniser les jeunes, amener beaucoup de jeunes. Je pense que ça part de l'école. Avoir des classes sportives qui vont permettre aux jeunes filles, aux jeunes femmes, aux jeunes garçons, aux jeunes hommes de vraiment s'intéresser à la question du sport et de l'art. Je pense que quand on parle de sport, il ne faut pas oublier, il y a la danse aussi qui est un sport. Et c'est de la culture, et c'est de l'art, et c'est de la musique, et c'est des choses... Merci. C'est des choses qui peuvent nous permettre aussi de véhiculer des valeurs.
Tout à fait.
Ces valeurs africaines qui nous tiennent énormément à cœur. Donc je pense que ça, je suppose qu'il y a des jeunes dans cette salle qui sont athlètes, qui font du sport. C'est votre rôle en fait. C'est votre rôle vraiment de pouvoir vous intéresser à ces secteurs-là. Et la dernière stratégie dont je vais parler, c'est vraiment la question de la technologie. La technologie aujourd'hui peut nous permettre de développer plusieurs corps de secteurs ou de métiers dans le sport, dans la culture, que ce soit l'architecture, que ce soit la fashion, donc la mode. Il y a une jeune fille hier qui disait qu'elle crée des vêtements, elle crée des articles qui sont designés afro. Comment est-ce qu'on peut faire ça et mettre ça au service du sport? Comment est-ce que des ambassadeurs sportifs, des athlètes peuvent utiliser cette chose et les vulgariser? Bon, je pense que c'est très important. Le talent que vous avez actuellement, vous pouvez le coller au sport et dégager quelque chose qui peut vous ramener de l'argent et donc pouvoir aller plus de l'argent et créer votre chemin à vous-même. Donc au-delà des chemins très traditionnels et des opportunités qui existent. Et la technologie, naturellement, pour la formation, l'information et accéder aux emplois et avoir des instituts qui peuvent vraiment encadrer, amener, que ce soit des athlètes professionnels ou des jeunes amateurs ou même à l'école, vraiment encadrer et amener à développer un vivier. Et moi, je voudrais peut-être terminer en disant qu'à l'OIF, on s'intéresse essentiellement à 3 stratégies. Donc à travers les Jeux de la francophonie, comment connecter le sport et la culture, favoriser la participation des jeunes femmes et bien entendu, favoriser le bénévolat dans le sport. Et le bénévolat dans le sport, c'est des corps de métier. C'est vraiment tout ce qui est organisation événementielle, tout ce qui est communication, tout ce qui est logistique, tout ce qui est gestion de transport dans le sport. À travers l'unité que je dirige, l'unité jeunesse, sport et citoyenneté, On s'intéresse vraiment aux questions de plaidoyer, de programme, dans la participation égale. On veut en faire une conversation globale. On veut accompagner des solutions et des innovations de jeunes en investissant de gens avec des micro-financements. Et je vais terminer en parlant de la direction de la langue et de la culture qui accompagne les jeunes talents, donc investit, que ce soit des auteurs, des artistes, etc., investit justement dans ces talents-là pour évoluer. Donc voilà la question que vous m'avez posée, elle est très large, mais je pense avoir fait le tour. Merci beaucoup.
Non, vous avez très bien répondu, Pamela. Et ce que j'adore, c'est que c'est comme si la boucle avait été bouclée. DG Sandrine avait parlé du fait que les sports et l'art, c'est des disciplines. Et de parler du fait du sport pour le développement personnel, de sport-éducation, de la représentation, des systèmes de support, des politiques et des politiques. Je trouve qu'on a fait le tour de la question. Et maintenant, on aimerait ouvrir aux questions des chers participants dans la salle. Donc, comment on pourrait faire, c'est qu'on va prendre 3 questions à la fois. S'il vous plaît, vous présentez, vous posez votre question et nous dire à qui s'adresse la question. So we're opening up the floor to Q&A. Please feel free to come up, introduce yourself, ask your question, and please let us know who the question is directed to. Thank you. Is there a mic in the room? I see hands up. Here comes the mic.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Janine Ouimana Nicole, and I represent Africa Private Sector Summit. I'm so delighted really to hear how not only we've got innovation, but the time is now for Africa. Not only the youth, even us who are growing out of that bracket of young people. So my question goes now, because I represent the Africa private sector. My question will be to Pamela. Merci beaucoup pour cette présentation. En tout cas, le secteur privé, il faudrait qu'il vienne vous consulter. Il y a beaucoup de projets à faire et nous devons décoloniser le secteur de la communication, le sport, ainsi que le art. Yeah? Art. Voilà. So my question now is, how do we decolonize the communication, the creative arts, as well as the sport? You rightly said how, for example, at the Africa Private Sector Summit, we've got a summit here in November from 14th to the 17th. We're going to launch a fashion design and textile show. And the purpose of that concept is to decolonize. If you're talking about our sport to wear, like now, for example, in Rwanda, as Rwandan, visit Rwanda was the right strategy. That's another kind of nugget for other African countries to see. For like the lady who is wearing, that is made in Africa. That is the fashion that we need to have in Zara, these big international stores. But how do we bring that? How do we make our own people believe, our young people, believe that our own indigenous knowledge is valuable and can still be modern? Thank you.
We're going to take 2 more questions.
Hello, everyone. I want to start asking, do we love Rwanda? Do we love Rwanda? My name is Ulrich. I'm Norwegian, and I'm here representing the European Business Chamber of Rwanda. Based on this wonderful summit, I'm actually very, very happy to invite you all to our launch of our Youth Professional Network, starting off the 1st of November, 2022. And I would like to invite you all here living and having established a company in Rwanda, because you guys You guys are really, really wonderful. Thank you.
Did you have a question too?
I'm coming to that. So, in 2019, my sister came to me and she told me we should watch an Arsenal-Liverpool game. And as a Liverpool fan myself, I'm sorry, Rwanda, I thought, why not? My sister asked me, 11-year-old, what is Visit Rwanda? Suddenly, I knew everything about mountain gorillas, Lake Kivu, Nyandungu National Park, and of course, Akagera. What a wonderful park, by the way. After that, that was right after I was finished in the army. In 2021, I chose to study African studies. And in 2022, in April actually, chose to pack my bags from Norway and move down here to Rwanda. Is there anyone that knows how important Visit Rwanda has been and how much that can change your lives? It is me. I'm now fully committed to use my career in investing into your wonderful coffee here, and I'm gonna bring all Europe down here to love your coffee. And one thing is Visit Rwanda that changed my life. I also know a lot about the region around because of Visit Rwanda, but then I also think Africa is so much more than tourism. What about African food? What about African spirituality? What about African fashion? And what about music? Who does not love Kiss Daniel? Come on.
Okay.
So, my question comes to the panel.
Thank you.
Which other sports than football and tourism would you like to implement? And which other thoughts do you have in mind to broaden the knowledge about sub-Saharan Africa? Because is there anyone that knows that Africa is on the map because of these initiatives? Thank you so much, everyone.
Who are you addressing your question to?
The whole panel, thank you.
Okay. Okay, one more question, and maybe we go the other side. The other side, please. Can we go the other side? We have people waving. I wave back. Upstairs too. We got people getting upstairs.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Mutabazi. I'm a deaf. I have hearing impairment. I'm Rwandan. I live in Kigali. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy with the panelists, all the things you've said. As a deaf person, yes, we have talents. We are not in music because we can't sing, but we can draw, we can do fashion. I'm very impressed how you are bringing these sports and talent in this Youth Connect. As African countries, how do we make sure that there is inclusion of people with disabilities in all of these? As we are promoting girls and women in arts, in music, we have to recognize people with disabilities as well, because this is a sector which is being promoted and it's really helping people. So my question is how, as people with disabilities, as people with hearing impairment, we do have talents, we can do basketball, we can do arts, we can do anything, but how are we included in all of this, in the system, in the programs? as people with disabilities, because if we are left behind, we can't reach where we want to be. And I want to encourage you, please do not forget us. We don't have to be left behind. Please keep remembering that there is this category of people with disabilities who want to be included as well. Thank you.
Who is the question addressed to? Can we go up? We'll do one more up. We'll do, yes, please, sir, go ahead, and then we'll do one more up.
Bonjour, bonjour. Je suis Aziz Dabo, je viens du Burkina Faso. J'ai bien suivi votre panel sur le sport, les différents investissements, sur les infrastructures sportives, mais je voudrais dire que les pays n'ont pas les mêmes priorités. Il y a des pays qui ont des difficultés. Les jeunes ont des difficultés. Et aujourd'hui, le sport s'apparente beaucoup plus à une situation dans laquelle une personne qui a bien mangé va se distraire. Vous imaginez une personne qui n'a pas bien mangé, est-ce qu'elle peut faire du sport? Je ne pense pas. Au Burkina Faso, il y a une initiative du ministère de la Jeunesse qui tend à ce que, une fois par mois, les gens se retrouvent un peu partout pour faire du sport. Mais comme je l'ai dit, lorsqu'on n'a pas bien mangé, il est difficile de faire du sport. Aujourd'hui, le Burkina Faso traverse des moments très difficiles. 50% du territoire sont aux mains des terroristes. On a près de 2 millions de déplacés internes. Donc si vous nous dites au Burkina Faso d'investir dans des infrastructures sportives, je ne suis pas sûr que ce soit la priorité des populations. Je ne le pense pas. Et en même temps, je profite de dire qu'il serait bien d'interpeller la jeunesse africaine, d'interpeller la solidarité africaine par rapport à ce qui se passe au Burkina Faso. Je pense que nous parlons d'union, nous parlons de cohésion, mais nous ne sentons pas la présence des amis, des frères, nous ne sentons pas la présence des institutions sous-régionales, des institutions internationales pour aider le Burkina Faso à sortir de cette difficulté.
Est-ce que vous aviez une question?
Je l'ai posée, je crois.
Okay.
Parce que je vous ai dit, est-ce que vous pensez que des personnes qui ont des difficultés alimentaires pourraient éventuellement investir dans le sport?
Merci.
Parce que d'un pays à l'autre...
Vous l'adressez à qui?
Je l'adresse à Monsieur le ministre.
Ok, d'accord, merci.
Merci bien.
Nous allons prendre une dernière question et on va aller en haut. Et je vais laisser Pamela commencer à répondre à la première question pendant qu'on attend quelqu'un en haut.
Well, hi everyone, how are you? Hi guys.
Hi.
Yeah, my name is Joshua Ole Kaputa. I am from Kenya, and I'm a peace ambassador. Same time, I'm also an artist. I do music. Well, we are here because of UNDP decided to bring us here, and we are really happy for what UNDP is doing in Africa. So can we please appreciate UNDP for supporting every activity that we have? Can we appreciate UNDP once again? Yeah, well, my question goes to my brother who is a singer, and this is my question. What are you doing as a young man to encourage those that want to be like you? What are some of the actions that you are taking to make sure that you are building their future? Secondly, what are you doing, especially financial-wise, to make sure that those that do not have money, that want to go to the studios and record their songs, what are you doing to be able to show them the way? Because many of the youth desire to do a lot of things, but due to financial constraints, they are not able to achieve their goals. Are you able to help them? Or else, have you been able to unite the rest of the musicians, for example, those that are in Rwanda, so that these guys that have talents, because there are so many of them that have got talents here and even in Africa, how are you working with the government to make sure that they achieve their goals, just to be like you, to be like someone else that is out there doing their things? Because we have a challenge, and one of the challenges that we have is financial challenge.
I'm going to ask you to wrap up, sir. Sorry.
Okay, I'm wrapping.
Thank you.
How are we going to make sure that these guys achieve their goals? How are we going to make sure that these guys can be able to be the great women and men that they want to be in future? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we'll let the panelists answer the questions, and hopefully we'll still have a bit of time to take another question or two. Please go ahead, Pamela, à ton tour.
Merci beaucoup. Je pense qu'avant de répondre à la question sur la décolonisation, je vais dire deux petits mots. Le premier, c'est quand même de remercier les organisateurs qui nous permettent à tous de pouvoir participer à cette conférence dans la langue que nous comprenons. Je pense que ça mérite quand même des applaudissements parce que qu'on soit francophone, anglophone ou même qu'on ait un handicap auditif, on est capable de pouvoir participer inclusivement. Sur la question du sport du Burkina, je compatis. Je suis béninoise à la base, je suis de l'Afrique subsaharienne, je compatis. Je ne vais pas m'étaler dessus, mais je dirais quand même une chose. Tout le monde ne peut pas participer au sport comme tout le monde ne peut pas faire des maths. Tous les pays ne développent pas l'ingénierie comme tous les pays ne peuvent pas développer le sport. Mais ce que la politique ne réussit pas à faire, le sport et la musique peuvent le faire. Drainer la paix, la cohésion et la stabilité. Ça, nous ne devons jamais l'oublier. Sur la question de la décolonisation, vous faites bien de poser la question parce que je pense qu'aujourd'hui, la question du développement s'articule encore autour de l'aide au développement. Mais pour l'Afrique particulièrement, nous devons commencer à dire non à l'aide au développement. Il n'y a pas d'aide au développement, il y a des partenariats de développement. Ça, nous devons être fermes dessus et nous devons suivre cette marche pour aller vers le développement du continent. Sur la question de la décolonisation dans le secteur du sport, il y a un premier pas à faire, c'est le pas identitaire. Et je pense que beaucoup de pays l'ont fait. Le Rwanda, le Ghana, comme les pays que vous avez cités, ont commencé à développer une identité nationale africaine à travers les compétitions sportives, à travers les événements sportifs, à travers la mode, à travers un certain nombre d'éléments. Donc cette identité, elle est essentielle. Je pense qu'il est aussi essentiel de créer des espaces pour converger la réflexion sur le développement du sport en Afrique et toucher du doigt les leviers. Je ne vais pas élaborer dessus parce que j'ai déjà parlé très long, mais il y a des leviers qu'on doit pouvoir accélérer en Afrique pour pouvoir développer ça et donc converger vers nous, les autres continents, les autres pays, pour établir des partenariats. Donc je pense qu'il y a une question de convergence ici. Et enfin, la question de l'investissement. Non seulement l'investissement dans le secteur, mais développer des infrastructures qui vont pouvoir nous permettre d'accueillir les grands rendez-vous sportifs. Je pense qu'à partir du moment où l'Afrique va devenir un contenant sportif, un contenant artistique et musical, la question de la décolonisation va commencer à devenir centrale et à commencer à ne plus se poser. Mais je pense que vous faites bien déjà d'avoir votre conférence qui sera dans les prochains jours. Je pense, comme je le disais, la question de la convergence, de la réflexion pour aboutir à des solutions. Donc plus de recommandations, mais des solutions et des actions. Merci beaucoup.
Merci Pamela. Je sais que Usher aussi voulait rajouter quelques mots là-dessus.
I just have a quick question before I answer the question. How many of us will watch the FIFA World Cup in Qatar? Aha, okay, some faces. It's going to be a historic moment for Africa because for the very first time we're going to have 5 African coaches coaching all our 5 countries. That includes, Cameroon, Ghana, Tunisia, Morocco, and this is part of the decolonization we are talking about. Policy makers, decision makers, federations, ministries of sports saying we believe in African coaches. We believe in African coaches who understand, yes, the technicality of football on the ground, but also who understand the culture. I've been privileged a little bit to be on the inside of the Senegal team, who are the current African champions. You have Aliou Cissé speaking to his players in Wolof For me, I think this is something that is extraordinary. If you're in a tight position, you know, on the pitch, you can communicate in this local language. This is part of, for me, something that is unique about these African teams that are going to the World Cup in Qatar. And then just to go away from the technical part of sports, to talk about the Basketball Africa League, for example, and I invite all of you to come next year for the playoffs in May. What to
21st to 27th.
Voila. 21st to 27th of May. When you come to the Basketball Africa League, it's not just about the teams and the basketball that is being played. There's a whole culture around fashion. You see everyone coming to, you know, the games, to the BK Arena dressed like this, you know, in proper African style. And it's like a showcase, you know, you have courtside seats, everyone is wearing all these African outfits inspired from all the way from Nigeria, Morocco, South Africa, Kenya, and this is what we want to see. And some of the designers here in Rwanda have benefited so much. House of Tayo, who, by the way, the NBA Africa Academy players said they will call him when they go to the NBA draft. Can you imagine? A Rwandan designer will be dressing these players when eventually they go and are showcased to the world at the NBA level, yes, in the USA, but also across the world. So for me, I think that decolonization part can be in so many aspects, technically on the ground and the pitch and the court, but also, you know, in terms of fashion, the way you wear. And lastly, ma'am, personally on my side, going to cover the World Cup, I'm partnering with African designers from Togo, from South Africa, on the way I will be looking like at the World Cup. That's my, you know, celebration of Africa.
And I just want to tell our sister from private sector that actually I am wearing a Rwandan designer. Michaela is wearing a Rwandan designer as well. Yeah. And we also have to decolonize our minds to think about what African design looks like.
Yeah.
So please, Michaela, if you can answer the next question.
Yes, thank you, Teta. So I have a question, I think, on Visit Rwanda, on nation branding. But I would like to first speak about something that's very dear to me, and then we'll get to that. I think sometimes when we start those conversations, we sort of create a separation, sometimes not intentionally, between science and art. But both are really linked. There's no art without science, there's no science without art. To give an example, I'm an engineer, but I'm also, I love the arts to some extent, and I can say that I'm an artist as well. But let's think of our African arts. From our beadings, when you go from Senegal to Rwanda, if you look at the beadings in our different countries in South Africa, our baskets arts, when you look at the mask, the symmetry that we have in the African masks, when you look at how we create our ballet when we dance, everything is mathematical, everything is organized and has a structure and an order to it. You cannot create clothes if you don't know how to measure their sizes, so you need to know your math. You cannot dye and create colors if you don't know chemistry, so everything is linked to each other. If you are a photographer, you need to know how to use your softwares, you need to know how to do editing. So I think it's important that we do not separate that, and we have conversation when we speak of both together. That's very important. To our colleague in the room who asked what we do about people who perhaps have some disability or impair, I think that's a call to all our governments to do more and more each day, more and more each day. I'm sure we have examples in our personal lives that we can all talk about. Personally, when I was a child, my first art teacher could not walk. He used to come into school on a wheelchair, but I still remember him because it was such an inspiration. Like how he's not working, but he's our art teacher. He's the one who's teaching us the basic of painting and drawing and so on. So not only do we have to create a space for people with disability, but we should not undermine the power they have to inspire us, to inspire us to do more, because, we should all strive for more. Now, on nation branding, you mentioned the partnership of Visit Rwanda. The brand started a couple of years ago. We identify football, at least with Arsenal and PSG, as area of that could help us grow the brand. But like I said earlier, sky's the limit. We are working with BAL on basketball. Teta wanted to talk about something, but it's still early to talk about it. And it's not just about sports. When you talk about tourism, you have food, as you mentioned. You have religious tourism, people who travel for conferences to meet, for religious gathering, and so on and so forth. So it's a large space, but it takes each and every one of us to bring our contribution. But what is also very important here, it's the power of nation branding. The power of branding. You are from Norvegia. Without Visit Rwanda, you wouldn't be in the room today. And I think we should encourage all our African countries to really hone and work on their country branding. It's very important. I'm almost done. It's okay. Parallel to nation branding, brands themselves have a power. I'm sure we know Nike and other, popular brands, and we love certain countries because of the brand they carry, because of the brand they sell to us. And here we're not talking government, we're really talking entrepreneurs, we are talking artists, singers, people who inspire you, and because of them, you get to know a country or a certain place in the world. So beyond nation branding, branding in itself has its own power. And then last but not least, we have young people in the room. I want to say, don't think that those conversations are too high level. Bring it to at your own level. Personally, what can I do? You want to be an actor in the creative sector? You want to be an actor in the sports sector? We need photographers, we need MCs, we need designers and so on. We've given so many examples. More than half of the panel here is wearing African designers. So it's in your hand. It's in your hand to do the best you can with what you have and believe in yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to go to a harder question, une question un peu plus difficile qui a été posée à Monsieur le ministre. Monsieur le ministre, si vous pourriez répondre.
Je vais essayer de répondre. Avant de répondre à mon frère du Burkina Faso, il y a un élément aussi important, parce qu'on doit comprendre que le sport, c'est un médicament préventif. C'est un médicament préventif parce que le diabète, l'obésité, le stress aujourd'hui sur notre continent, c'est quelque chose qui est colossal et qui coûte énormément cher effectivement à l'économie en général au niveau de l'Afrique. Donc c'est un médicament qui est hyper préventif, donc je pense que l'investir dedans est essentiel aussi par rapport à la santé. Pour répondre à mon frère du Burkina Faso, quand j'avais faim, je ne pouvais pas monter sur le ring ni m'entraîner. C'est très difficile, vous avez parfaitement raison. Et qu'il y a effectivement des priorités. Et je pense que chaque priorité, chaque pays sur ce continent détermine effectivement sa priorité. Mais vous pouvez aller dans tous les pays en Afrique aujourd'hui, vous voyez tous les jeunes, d'une manière informelle, pratiquent du sport dans la rue. Ils le font sans encadrement, sans conditions, sans accompagnement médical, etc., etc. Malgré qu'ils aient faim, ils le font quand même. Ils jouent au football partout, ils pratiquent du sport. Donc ce que nous donnons ici comme élément déterminateur, c'est de dire qu'il faut faire un matching entre le secteur privé et l'encourager à investir effectivement dans le secteur du sport pour permettre à l'État justement d'accompagner le processus et de mettre en place une vulgarisation du sport et l'accessibilité du sport à tous. S'il y a un encadrement, un jeune qui ne mange qu'une fois par jour, s'il rentre dans un club, ça peut lui permettre de manger peut-être 2 fois ou 3 fois par jour. C'est créer effectivement un modèle qui nous permet d'aller dans cette direction-là. Je comprends qu'aujourd'hui en Afrique, au Burkina, en Guinée, je viens de la Guinée, je suis dans les mêmes conditions que vous aujourd'hui, le pays sont très en difficulté et très en retard par rapport à énormément de choses. Aujourd'hui, il faut qu'on s'embarque et qu'on développe des modèles business qui nous permettent aujourd'hui au continent africain de pouvoir effectivement grandir. Vous avez parlé de modèle business. Quand on parle de sport, on parle de chaussures, on parle de vêtements, on parle d'infrastructures sportives. Tout ça doit effectivement permettre au continent africain de montrer son savoir-faire et de développer son modèle business et pas imposer ce qu'on nous importe de l'autre côté pour effectivement acheter ici sans avoir une économie qui nous permet d'avoir un écosystème circulaire en profitant justement de ce modèle-là. Il est important aussi une chose, on a vu beaucoup de pays qui ont construit des stades effectivement pour des compétitions comme la CAN africaine et qui finalement se sont retrouvés avec des stades 5 ans, 6 ans, 7 ans après inutilisables parce que l'entretien est excessivement cher. Il faut faire des modèles qui sont...
To also try and bring up other artists, is that right? I think it definitely is a collective effort that's required in our own capacity as JP Entertainment. We managed to open a record label which is different from most of the record labels out there. It's not really after profit, but to help assist the young artists who are just coming up. You realize that most artists have managed to record for free as long as they do have the talent and it's convincing enough that we can put it out there. And this we've been doing just to help and not for profit. Ja has also taken part in a lot of talent search events, and we have proceeded to help artists shoot videos, record in the studio, and also distribute the music. We are not the only ones doing this. There are a lot of artists doing this all over the continent, and the more we get more players to help do that, that's how we can win that fight to help more artists to come up. Not only one artist can do that, but we are happy we're trying.
Thank you so much, Keen. Before we end the panel, I would like to ask Salima if you would like to address the delegates and the panel.
If you can't believe yourself, nobody will believe in you. Rwanda is a small country. In football, it have never gone to the World Cup. Why? Not because they don't have the best players, they don't have the best coaches, not because they don't have those components that build the sport like in football, just because their time will come and they will be going to the World Cup. Not today, but I'm a Rwandan. I will go to the World Cup. It's just Rwanda. And it's Africa, because I'm going to be the only African woman to represent Africa. I will be risen by African, because I'm African. And I will be supported by African. You might not be like football, but because it's African, I'm sure you will be supporting me. Not because it's a World Cup, but within your heart, you will feel something. Even if we like Europe, we like America, but our source is in Africa. We still have something in our heart that keep push us to love and like Africa. It's a continent with a, they say, problem. Everywhere there is a problem. But who is the response? Who have the solution of that problem? Is it American? Is it someone from Europe? It's me, it's you, it's all African who are here. And someone who's going to build the strong barrier to the problem is not this mom, is not this father, is the youth. Youth, we have power. We are strong. Being here only means you are strong. You have all possibility to be where you want to be, either in sport, in economy, in artists, in whatever. You can be there. Because our leaders have been building a lot. Because they know within we have a strength. They have been creating many ways for us to tackle the challenges. Here now we are talking about a young girl. Is anyone have a young sister? If you have a young sister, hands up. Do you love that young sister? Do you think she can become one day a president? The best footballer in the world? What can you do for her? Because this is the question. We all say we love everything when it comes to men. What about women, that young girl? What can you do? Some of the countries in Africa, they undermine their, what can I say? Their rights. Go stay in the kitchen. Why? She can think. She can prepare her future. If not, I'm here. Because that's the background where they say you need to go to the kitchen. Even if you're going to study, you will not do anything. But I'm here. Start today. Get your young sister or your friend's young sister or your daughter also. First, education. Because education, you are opening the door to those girls. After education, they will choose what they want to be. Give them freedom to choose what they want to be. I choose football because I like football. You can choose whatever you want to be. But whatever you're going to choose, don't forget sport. I didn't eat, but I do sport. Who cares? I heard to the music, some music there. I didn't eat. But when you feel to the rhythm of the music, you dance. Who cares you didn't eat or whatever? Because I want to make my soul happy. Because this is what I feel within me. So please, ladies and gentlemen, let our beloved daughter, girls, even boys, choose what they want to be. Because if they're here, it's because they have that ability. Helping them, give them strength, for sure Africa will have the best leaders, will have the best professional in different career where we're gonna say no more problem because we can resolve our own problem. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this panel. It was a pleasure moderating this panel today. I think we can all open our TVs or listen to radios, and that's on an international level, and see that talent does come from Africa. And now it comes to us to plan ahead, to make sure that we seize all the opportunities that those ecosystems do create for us and for our youth. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you, Mbuto Foundation, for this lovely platform. Have a beautiful day.
Develop once again to the moderator and the panelists after a very informative conversation. Allow me to invite every panelist for the picture of the memory. Allow me as well to invite the Director General, please be on stage. Hello. We're going to take the picture from the stage. Yeah. All right. Yes. Please allow me to invite the Director General of Imbuto Foundation as well to join this memorable moment. I invite as well Mukansanga Salma. And culture.